Shalom, shalom. Go ahead, gonna look at the feed real quick. See how we sounding.
Shalom Akim. Let me
All
have
right,
it
it's good.
pulled up.
It's
The
good.
Joshua.
Right. Shalom.
Shalom Akim.
First and foremost, I want to start by giving all praise, honors, and glories to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rechakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching 100% truth. Wa Barakathum to the 144,000, as well as the rest of the elect. May peace and blessings be unto y'all households. All right. And this is the GMS Dallas, Younger Bros, alongside with a Warga, as well as with your side. And as you can see in the title, we're gonna continue on these, pretty much this chapter breakdowns. As far as we on the third chapter. I realized I spelled third wrong. I just put 3D, but I meant Joshua the third chapter. Right. And just to give you like a small little run back on the second chapter, pretty much how the second chapter of Joshua went into how the Joshua sent two spies to spy out the land, right? Spy out the land of Jericho. Ray and Rahab pretty much took them in, protected them, pretty much covered them from the Canaanites that came looking for them, and basically, they made an oath. Rahab that made an oath to them that she wouldn't rat them out, and they made an oath to her that they wouldn't destroy their family when it does come time to um take over Jericho, right? And now, well, at the ending of that chapter, it went into how pretty much, yeah, Yahweh is with Joshua, and pretty much they're ready to take the land. So we're finna go ahead get started on the third chapter, which is going to explain which is really just going to go to them pretty much crossing the Jordan River, as it says, Israel crosses the Jordan River. But you can read it, Warga.
This is Joshua chapter 3, verse 1. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and they removed from Shittim, and came to Jordan, he and all the children of Israel, and lodged there before they passed over.
Exactly. So that once he got the pretty much the good news of pretty much, okay, it's good for us to take it from the two spies that he sent over there. The next day, if I'm not mistaken, the next day they got up early in the morning, right? Removed from Shittim, meaning they got on the move. They moved their stuff, and it says they came to Jordan, so they moved right there, like pretty much right at the Jordan River, pretty much. Matter of fact, since we already kind of got into that, we're gonna pull up the map. Pull up the
They kind of
map.
pretty, they pretty much, I just want to add, they pretty much like moved closer to Jordan
Yeah,
from
yeah.
where it was at. They moved closer to Jordan, so they, getting ready to cross it.
Damn. Well, like, all right. Well, I'm just zooming in like this. Okay, there it goes.
Could you
All
hover
right.
over it so they could probably see it? Probably hover your little thing over it.
On my mouse. It's on my mouse. Can you see my mouse? Wait, my bad. Can you see my mouse? Kind of. Can you see it?
My bad, I muted myself. Yeah, I can see it.
All right. All right. So obviously you can see Shittim right here. You can see that's the land of Gad and the land of Reuben, which is the two main tribes that's really going to be helping, Joshua take over Jericho, right? And we got into that with like the first chapter, if I'm not mistaken. It's either
Yeah, the first
early
chapter.
second, if not mid first chapter, right? Pretty much how they swore to basically do what Moses said, and now they're doing the same thing towards Joshua, right? Saying like, yeah, we will be with you as long as the Lord is with you, right? And anybody that's not down to like basically go fight basically with Joshua, that they will be killed. That's in the earlier chapters of Joshua. So now it's getting to the point to where, okay, now they're gonna know that the land is pretty much theirs, right? And in that first verse we just read, basically, as you can see, Shittim, right, in the land of Gad, and as the brother said, they literally just moved closer to the Jordan River, so they probably moved like around, like over here somewhere, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere over there, like literally right by Jordan, right? So we can go ahead and go back to that. Joshua, if you ain't got nothing else to say.
Yeah, I got you. This is Joshua chapter 3 and verse 2 now. It says, and it came to pass after 3 days that the officers went through the host,
Can I keep going?
and they commanded the people, saying, When ye see the ark of the covenant of the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, your power, and the priests, the Levites, bearing it up, then ye shall remove from your place and go after it.
Exactly. So pretty much they got pretty much set up there to wait until the Levites which is they're gonna be carrying the Ark of the Covenant. We're gonna get into that as well. But they're gonna be the ones carrying the Ark of the Covenant because they're the only ones that can really carry it. And once they pretty much come by with the Ark of the Covenant, they're supposed to follow by. But before we get more into that, because the next verse goes into like they have to have a certain distance in between them and the Ark of the Covenant. But we're gonna go ahead and jump into Exodus, the 25th chapter, to explain you what the Ark of the Covenant even looks like. And it's not like Noah's Ark or anything, because when you think of Ark, that's what I would think of when I hear Ark. I think of Noah's Ark. Just but like we're gonna get into what the Ark of the Covenant looks like, and how was it like pretty much what it's made out of and everything. But we can read it because I like the way NLT says it because it pretty much it tells you straight to the point pretty much. But we'll go ahead and get into it. Right. You say something?
Yeah, you can read it, right?
Kind of, yeah, you got it. Start at verse 10.
Now this is Exodus chapter 25, verse 10. And they shall make an ark, they shall make an ark out of shittim wood, 2 cubits, and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And a cubit, my bad. This is not the NLT.
Yeah, this is KJV. I heard you say shittim. I was about to go into the Arcade of Wood. I was talking about shittim wood.
Yeah, this is Exodus. It's like my bad. This is Exodus 25 and verse 10 in NLT. Have the people make an ark of Arcata wood, a sacred chest, 45 inches long, 27 inches wide, and 27 inches high.
Exactly.
So overlaid. My bad.
So they're this to go into the brother already said it because in the KJV it says out of shittim wood, right? Which is when you look at shittim wood, I'll go ahead and bring up a picture. It really just kind of look like a normal tree wood. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, shittim wood.
Let me see. Let's see. Let me look it up. Let me look up the. Let me see. Let me put it
shittim
in
wood, also known as Arcadia
or Arcata wood.
Yeah.
Let me put in the chat the the specialties of the Arcata wood or whatnot. Might get some. But you go ahead and speak though.
I'm looking. Shittim bend planks, but when you look at it, it really just damn near look like normal wood, like a darker color wood. As you can see, just a couple pictures. Man, I thought I was gonna zoom in. Oh my shit. But yeah, it just pretty much look like normal wood. But we could go ahead and go back into that Exodus 25, unless you found something better.
I was trying to see something. I wanted to put in the chat GPT what's the point of the Arcata wood and things. Let's see.
Let me know if you find anything good within that. But yeah, as you can see, there was a certain way that there's a certain way that the Lord wanted the Ark of the Covenant to be built, right? As we got in that Exodus 25, 10, 45 inches long, right? Which is about damn near like 4 feet long, damn near 4 feet long, and about like a little bit over 2 feet wide, as well as 2 feet high. Right. So it's really not that big if you think about it. It's really not that big. But it's big enough for where it needed for people to carry it. You end up finding anything good on that, Warger?
Yeah. Well, you pretty much saying like Arcata wood. It was saying it made a point. It said Arcata wood is you probably could share my screen so they probably could see it.
Yeah, I got you.
Let me put it up there.
Yeah, yeah. Let me know. Let me know.
Yes. I put it up there.
All right. All right. Let me stop sharing my stuff real quick. And there you go. You got
Yeah.
it.
So as you see, it says, Arcata wood, called Shittim wood in King James Version in the U.S., it was used for the Ark of the Covenant for several practical and symbolic reasons. It said
Mm,
durability and strength. Arcata wood is extremely hard, dense, and durable, resistant to rot, insects, decay,
mm.
even in a harsh desert climate of Sinai. Do you want to say something on it?
That's nothing really. It's just, I mean, it's pretty
Okay.
self-explanatory. It's like it's good from like what resistant to rot, insects, and decay. So I was like, damn, that's pretty smart to use shittim wood. So it's like it'll be like, it's not something that ain't finished to be over just rotting away like easily or anything,
Yeah.
right? So you
And
can go
like
ahead.
it's saying that, because we know the Ark of the Covenant is a representation of Yahushua. And
Yeah.
Yahushua, what was he? He was perfect. So he was incorruptible. So in other words, that's kind of what it's saying about the Arcata wood, if we even saying it right.
Yeah,
The
that's
Shittim wood.
shittim
The
wood.
Shittim wood was pretty much incorruptible. It couldn't be corrupted. It was resistant to rot, insects, decay. You see, it was resistant to those particular. It was resistant to a harsh desert climate that was in the Sinai. It was resistant to all those particular things, and like we know that the Ark of the Covenant is a representation of Yahweh Shai, because that's how Yahweh Shai was. Yahweh Shai, he did no sin. He was resistant. He was resistant to rot, to decay. You know, even though he was in the form of it in the flesh, he didn't submit to those pleasures. He didn't submit to those desires. He overcame it. You see,
Mm-hmm.
like the Ark of the Covenant, it overcomes those particular things: decay, rot, the insects. Let me see. It says, that's really the only thing. Well, it says right here, it says a symbolism of incorruptibility. You see, it says, the shittim wood or Akeda wood overlaid with pure gold symbolizing incorruptible humanity covered by divine glory.
Mm.
See, and it says the wood, the human nature, the gold, God's presence, you know, but things like that, you see. The Arcata wood was a representation of incorruption, you see. So that's why the Lord used that specific type of wood, because it was incorruptible. But it was a foreshadowing of how Yahweh Shai will be that incorruptible person being coming in the earth that will essentially, once we get into this chapter, will lead us to the land, like this, like the Ark of the Covenant was. Go before the people, went into the land, led the way. Same way with Yahweh Shai is the same type of concept. You see a lot of parallels in it, but that's all.
All right, kind. We can go ahead and get back into uh the Exodus. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get back into the Exodus 25, going into the what the ark look like. And we
Yeah,
got we got a
you,
physical
yeah.
picture depiction picture as well.
Okay.
But we're gonna show the picture once it's all like pretty much explained it. But where we at, verse 11? Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna just read 10 again, if that's cool with you.
yeah, you got it, bro.
Okay, I'm reading it. It's Exodus 25 and 10. Have the people, this is in NLC, have the people make an ark of acacia wood, a sacred chest, 45 inches long, 27 inches wide, and 27 inches high. Overlay it inside and outside with pure gold, and run a molding of gold all around it. Cast 4 golden rings and attach them to the 4 feet, 2 rings on each side.
Exactly.
Make
So
poles.
it's like you didn't mean to well, yes, like you. But yeah, as it's saying, man, it's gonna be overlaid with gold. So, Arcata wood, it's as we got a picture of it, it's brown. But as you can see, it's gonna be overlaid with pure gold. If I'm not mistaken, the whole thing is gonna be overlaid with pure gold. All
Yeah,
right.
it is. Yeah.
Can you go ahead? Continue.
Yeah, you're right. It's gonna go into that pretty much how the whole thing is. It says cast 4 golden rings and attach them to his 4 feet, 2 rings on each side. Verse 13. Make poles from Arcata wood and overlay them with gold. Insert the poles into the rings and the sides of the ark to carry it. These carrying poles must stay inside the rings. Never remove them. When the ark is finished, placed it inside of stone tablets inscribed with the terms of the covenant which I will give to you.
Yeah. So when oh yeah, that's what's inside, as it says, inside of the damn it, the Ark of the Covenant, right? It says the stone tablet inscribed with the terms of the covenant. So which is like the brother said, man, it's really just, this is all representing of Yahweh Shai. You know, that's why it's covered in pure gold, right? Keyword pure gold, not just any kind of gold with dross in it, right? It's built in with Arcadia wood or shittim wood. Not only for durability, but the fact that it's very resistant to, decay and stuff, and let alone being overlaid with pure gold, it's going to make it even more resistant to that, right? And we could jump down to verse like 18. Yeah, verse 18, because that's going to explain. It's going to explain the top part of the Ark of the Covenant. Keep slipping.
If I read 17?
Yeah, might as well. My bad. Might as well read 17. Go ahead.
Time. It's Exodus 25:17. It says, "Then make the ark's covers the place of atonement from pure gold, and it must be 45 inches long and 27 inches wide. Then make 2 cherubim from hammered gold, and place them on the 2 ends of the atonement cover. Mold the cherubim on each end of the atonement cover, making it all one piece of gold."
Okay. So we're gonna pretty much show the representation, or at least the closest to it, which is, I think, it's pretty on point. Here it goes right here, because the 2 cherubim really goes into like pretty much 2 angels, right? And the 2 angels basically wings, they'll be facing each other, as you can see right here, and you can see that, look, Ark of the Covenant, straight gold plated. You see the 4 rings on the side of it. You see the wood poles. You see them on 2 sides, so it's meant for 4 people to carry it, 4 priests. And you know what 4 goes into? For brothers that are into numbers, mercy. So this is like, pretty much the closest representation to what the Ark of the Covenant would look like. Pretty much pure gold, 4 poles on the side, and they will never take these. I don't know if it said it already. I think it did, and these poles will never come out, so they will never take these poles out. They will always stay in there, and pretty much they'll have 4 priests carrying it, aka Levites, right? But yeah, that's pretty much what the Ark of the Covenant looks like. So now you got an idea what the Ark of the Covenant looks like. We can get back into that, because that's what the priest is going to be carrying. We go back to Joshua 3 and 3. Yeah, we can start back at 3 again, unless you got something to say.
I was trying to find the account where, I'm in the account. I'm just trying to find a point where you had the angels on when Yahweh Shai tomb, you had the angels on the end of it. Just showing you how it's a representation of Yahweh Shai.
Mm.
Let me see.
2 cherubims, which is just 2 angels. Well, you already said that. That's so. No mercy seat. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, this is pretty much the account.
Okay, just let me know right now when you find it. Oh, well, if you find like what you looking for, and if you don't, we just hop back in Joshua.
All right, we just hop back to it. But essentially, you read it in Matthew. Matthew, it goes into how you have angels at the end of Yahweh Shai's tomb, showing you how, he's that mercy seat. He's the atonement, because that's what the Ark of the Covenant was a representation of. And when you think about an ark is like a bridge. It's like a go-between. So the Lord Yahweh Shai, he's a go-between for the new covenant being established, even in the sense for the first covenant. But let's go. Where my Joshua at, man?
Back in Joshua 3. I mean, I got
I'm
it up
gonna read
there.
it up. I'm gonna read it up the screen. It's Joshua 3 and verse 3. And they commanded the people, saying, "When ye see the ark of the covenant of the Lord Yahweh Shai, your power, and the priests and the Levites bearing it, then ye shall remove from your place and go after it." Yet,
Exactly. So in other words, once they seen the priest carrying the Ark of the Covenant, It's pretty much just pretty much the same. They're supposed to start following them, right? And then you can go ahead and get verse 4.
Verse 4. Yet there shall be a space between you and it, about 2,000. Hold on, my bad. Are you gonna change to the NLT?
Yeah, because it says it more plainly. It's like I forgot you were looking at my screen,
Yeah,
but
you got
might,
it. I was
might as well
like,
go ahead and read it. The hell?
all right, I'm gonna read it KJV. I'm gonna read it NLT.
Here it goes,
This
right
is
here.
Joshua 3 and verse 4. Since you have never traveled this way before, there will be a guide. So like they will guide you. Mm. Stay
Hmm.
about half a mile behind them, keeping a clear distance between you and the ark. Make sure you don't come any closer.
Exactly. So pretty much the Levites, they when they was carrying the Ark of the Covenant, they're supposed to lead the way, right? And it says to keep what it says about a half a mile. So that's a pretty far distance. A half a mile, right? A half a mile. That's a pretty far distance. As a matter of fact, that just remind me to do something that I actually forgot to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if there's a reason why they like it needed to be pretty much a half a mile, right? So. Oh,
I looked into that too. What was the point of the ark? Let me see if I can find some.
I got something too, by the way.
okay, you can bring it out, bro.
This is I'm in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, and I got like tabernacle. It's like the second paragraph of it. And I'm gonna read a little bit into this. It says right here, it says the tabernacle which stood at the end of the court. It says it was a wooden structure 45 by 15 feet, divided by a heavy veil into two parts, a holy place and a most holy place. This was covered on the inside with embroidered linen tapestry on the outside of double blankets of the skin. The holy place contained the table of the showbread, the golden candlestick, and the altar of incense. And the most holy place, or the most holy of holies, had in it only the Ark of the Covenant, a small box-like structure of wood covered with gold, which there were the tablets, the law, the pot of manna, and Aaron's rod. So the holiest of holies. That was likened to where the Ark of the Covenant was located, and that's
Yeah.
basically why they had to be away from that, because only the priests were able to be like whenever the tabernacle was set up, like our place of worship, that tent.
Mm-hmm.
Like only the priests could go that far to that area. Everybody else was allowed to be in there. And even when we had different time periods where we had to sacrifice, like Day of Atonement, where they had to sprinkle blood and stuff, only the priests, the Levites, were able to go to that area. But y'all got it.
I was looking at some right quick, ChatGPT, see what it said. It's made some good points. It said like the distance also represented like it was a mediator. How like the Lord wasn't directly dealing with us; He was dealing with us through a mediator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was also looking at it because it says like reasons like for like why it had to be half a mile. It says because the ark represented pretty much Yahushua's presence, pretty very presence, and and it also goes into how people because people like were forbidden to touch it, uh, as well as I think it says or get too close, right? It says keeping a distance reinforce the Most High's holiness and the people's need for respect. And then on top of that, it said visibility because it said it was like with nearly 2 million Israelites traveling, a large gap allowed everyone in the crowd to clearly see the ark ahead. Man, 2 million? I don't know. That's a lot. 2 million. I mean, shit. When you look at the land, it was a pretty big land with Reuben and Gad. So when we looked at it on the map,
And even when you think about it too, because you know how because essentially the Ark of the Covenant itself, that was like our way to commune with the Lord, which we know the
yeah.
Ark of the Covenant is Yahweh Shai. But it's heavy because only the Levites had access to that, and that's what you have now. If you want to come learn of the Lord, you have to go through His prophets. A lot of people nowadays like, well, I study on my own. I do that. No, you have to. It's an order to this thing. You got to go through the prophets, and the prophets are known as the Levites. And today, they the ones that do the work of the Lord under the order of Melchizedek. So like in that sense, it's heavy because you got the Ark of the Covenant, which is Yahweh, which He's the mediator between us and the Father, which that's what it was for us. And then you have the priests, which are like the mediators for the nation of Israel to the Ark of the Covenant, getting access to the Father. And you had that today, pretty much. The Levites which are essentially today the saviors, the 144,000, the elect. They are you have to get to the Yahweh Shai, you kind of got to go through them. You got to look because they the one that they're the friends of the Lord. They know him. So if you want to learn the Yahweh Shai, learn what he likes, you got to go through the as essentially what is it called? Damn, because what was John Baptist? What was the title of John the Baptist? He was called. I mean, he was the friend of the bridegroom, pretty much, but it was a different like title. But that's who the prophets are, which were the Levites. That's what they did, pretty much. I just thought it was kind of interesting.
If I may add, that's because we're under the priesthood of Malak Tazadok, which makes everybody to be kings and priests. Like all the Israel is going to be kings and priests under the order of Malak Tazadok, which is under Yahweh Shai. You see, because he was really supposed to be our everlasting high priest from the beginning. It would that priesthood of Aaron wasn't meant to last forever. Even Moses got revealed to him that we're gonna break the covenant. That wasn't gonna be able to do it.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to say too, that's why when Moses was communing with the Lord, he had to go on the mount and he had to be holy. You know, he had to make sure he was holy, and he was, the Lord was dealing with everybody directly. We had mediators, and only certain men had a spirit to be able to go and commune with the Lord. So when you deal with like the Ark of the Covenant, they'll have it in the holiest of holies.
Yeah.
And it was only certain Levites that was able to go and make sacrifices and do whatever sacrifice you need to sacrifice stuff. There was only certain men that can do that. They can go in there. One of our kings tried to go and do what the Levites did, and then the Lord jacked him up like immediately.
Yeah.
So that just shows you the way the Lord deals. But it's ultimately the Ark of the Covenant is likened to Yahweh Shai. Because like the brother was going into, yeah, the prophets are the mediators because Yahweh Shai basically gave his men power to push forward the gospel and further Yahweh Shai's message and what he's getting ready to do before he returns back. We're like ambassadors to Yahweh Shai.
Yeah.
Because Yahweh Shai ain't dealing directly with everybody. Like basically he's dealing with his elect. And then through the elect, everybody else will be able to come back and be returned.
Yeah, we'll get back in that, Joshua, if y'all ain't got nothing else.
This is Joshua chapter 3, verse 5 now.
Mm-hmm.
It says, this is in the KJV, it says, and Joshua said unto the people, sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you.
Yeah, keep going.
Verse 6, and Joshua spake unto the priests, saying, take up the ark of the covenant, and pass over before the people. And they took up the ark of the covenant and went before the people.
Exactly. So, as it says in verse 5, Joshua said unto the people, sanctify yourselves, which is pretty make holy, or, prepare yourselves for tomorrow, for Yahweh's going to pretty much do a miracle, right? Which is going to get more into as we read through this. And then, as you can see, Joshua told the priests to go ahead and go through the midst of the people with the Ark of the Covenant and pretty much lead the way. If y'all ain't got nothing,
I was about to say, what that last verse just say about being holy?
Sanctify yourself.
Yes. So, like, check this out. What is the Lord doing within the nation of Israel right now? The bride is making herself ready.
Yeah.
She's purifying herself because that's what we got to do to be in the presence of Yahweh Shai. We go into that chamber that's like into the chariot. We got to make ourselves ready. So it's the same deal.
Makes sense. So he said they had to sanctify themselves before he told the priest to start carrying the Ark of the Covenant pretty much through the people. But yeah, we can continue on if y'all ain't got nothing else.
Yeah. Verse 7, and you at a quick point, the Lord, he do that a lot of times. Every time you come in the presence of the Lord, because that's essentially like you saw I was saying, that was like the marriage being joined. Like us going to the promised land, that was like the marriage being joined. Even though that wasn't essentially the end all be all. We was gonna go off. It was really an order for the second covenant, but it's like that, when the Lord had Moses come to him. This is holy ground. When Israel wanted to talk to the Lord, they didn't want to talk to Moses. Sanctify yourselves. So that, like you said, that's the Lord doing now with his elect, sanctifying the bride.
Yeah.
But this verse 7, Joshua 3 and 7, and the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai said unto Joshua, this day will I begin to magnify thee in the sight of all Israel, that they may know that As I was with Moses, so I will be with thee.
God. So pretty much the Lord is gonna magnify Joshua as he did Moses, and the miracle that he's gonna pretty much do pretty much again, right? But it's gonna be with Joshua this time. As it's gonna explain it more to the chapter. You go ahead, verse 8.
Verse 8. And thou shalt command the priests that bear the ark of the covenant, saying, where ye come to the brink of the water of Jordan, ye shall stand in Jordan.
Right. So basically, once they get to the Jordan River, right? They was commanded to pretty much just stand there. If I'm not mistaken, let me see what it said in NLT. I think it said in there when you reach the bank of the Jordan, it'll take a few steps. So yeah, in the NLT, it says. Matter of fact, I'll just pull it up right here. I'm right here. I'm tripping. What was that 3 and 8? Here it goes. This is Joshua chapter 3, verse 8 in NLT. It says, give this command to the priests who carry the ark of the covenant. When you reach the banks of the Jordan River, take a few steps into the river and stop there. Right. So they're just basically they're just supposed to they're to hold the priests that are holding the covenant. They're going to take a couple steps inside the water and they're just going to sit there and wait. And as it continues on, that's the rest of the Israelites will pretty much have to pass by. Well, before they pass by, you know what's like. I'm just letting the scriptures go do the talk because it's going to explain it all. I'm just kind of getting ahead of it. But you go ahead and continue. We get it back in KJV in verse
9. This is Joshua chapter 3, verse 9, KJV. And Joshua said unto the children of Israel, come hither and hear the words of the Lord Yahweh, your power. And Joshua said, hereby ye shall know that the living power, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, is among you, and that he will without fail drive out from before you the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Hivites, and the Perizzites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Jebusites.
Yeah, and all of these, not all of them, my bad. Some of them were descendants of Canaan, and some of these were just people that dwelled nearby in the land. And it's going, as you see, it gave you the list of pretty much who they're finna drive out, right? All them people, right? Because the Lord has given them the land of pretty much Jericho. You know, as we brought up in that map. Do I still got it up? Yeah.
Yeah, I want to make a point too. Essentially, all of them was descendants of Ham. Pretty much, they was like Hamite nations.
Okay, so it was all of them. Okay.
Yeah, they was all descendants of Ham. That's who was in that land. It was Ham. Well, it was Ham descendants. You know, you had the Canaanites, Girgashites. Those they was pretty much descendants of Ham.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, we continue on.
It's Joshua 3 and 10. My bad, 3 and 11. Behold, the ark of the covenant, the Lord, Yahweh Shai of all the earth, passes over before you into Jordan. Now, therefore, take ye 12 men of the tribes of Israel, out of every tribe a man.
Mm-hmm.
And it shall come to pass, as soon as the soles of the feet of your priests that bear the ark of the Lord Yahweh Shai of all the earth, shall rest in the waters of Jordan, that the waters of Jordan shall be cut off from the waters that come down from above, and they shall stand upon an heap.
Exactly. So when it did get to the point when they was carrying the Ark of the Covenant, the Levites carrying the Ark of the Covenant, when it got to the point to where they like pretty much as soon as they stepped foot in that water, right? It was a riverbank that the Lord closed off to pretty much to give them a path to cross the Jordan River, based pretty much on dry land. You know, as soon as it happened, and then it said, you know, as it says, the 12 men out of each tribe of the nation of Israel to pretty much go first, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, to pretty much go by first. But as soon as the Levites got there with the Ark of the Covenant, and they stood on part of that water, that stream that they gave them a way to cross through, cut off, and it explains more. You keep going.
I got precept. Well, not yet. I'll bring it out later. But this is Joshua 3 and 14. And it come to pass when the people removed from their tents to pass over Jordan, and the priests bearing the ark of the covenant before the people, and as they that bear the ark were come unto Jordan, and the feet of the priest that bear the ark were dipped into the brim of the water, for the Jordan. For can you scroll down a little bit, Bubble Shot?
Oh, my bad.
No, you good. It says from the middle of the verse, for Jordan overfloweth all his banks all the time of the harvest.
Exactly. So basically, once the waters got pretty much dried up to give them way to cross it, the nation of Israel, they'll cross it first, while the Levites that's holding the Ark of the Covenant would be sitting there pretty much just waiting as Israel crossed by first, right? And what it say in verse 15? Oh, you just read it. And as that ark, but as soon as the feet of the priest okay, my bad. Reread 15.
All right, I got you. This is Joshua Slacker 3 and 15. And as they bear the ark, Slacker, and as they bear the ark were coming to Jordan, and the feet of the priests that bear the ark were dipped in the brim of the water, for Jordan overfloweth all his banks all the time of the harvest.
Keep going, verse 16.
Keep scroll down.
Mm-hmm.
It's verse 16. It says that the waters which came down from above stood and rose up upon an heap very far from the city of Adam. That is beside Zertan, and those that came down toward the sea of the plain, even the salt sea, failed and were cut off, and the people passed over right against Jericho.
Which is pretty much explaining how the Lord stopped, pretty much stopped the water, right? So he stopped. He covered. He pretty much just covered up the riverbank that was responsible for bringing that water downstream, and once he did that, the people were able. Not the people. The nation of Israel was able to cross over the Jordan River. But that was just going into more detail, like on like how the Lord pretty much did it. So it's still of course it's still a miracle, but it's not like the same thing as Moses putting a staff in to do it. Nope, it was as soon as the priest stepped in the water. As soon as they stepped in the water, the Lord did all of that. Overflow the banks, cover up the banks to give them a way to pretty much cross the Jordan River on dry land.
I got a precept for you.
Okay, you go ahead, bro.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 18. You start at verse 21.
My bad. You said Deuteronomy 18, 21.
You get 18 and 21. Because as is mentioned, this is the Lord showing that he's with Joshua, and we know a lot of time throughout the scriptures, how the Lord usually prove if the prophet is his, he pretty much co-signs the words, the things that prophet prophesies, and they come to pass. You even reading in 2 Samuel, Elijah said that if he be a man of the Lord, then bring down fire from heaven upon these men. And that's what happened. So the Lord justified, co-signed like this is my prophet, because he brought down fire from heaven. When Elijah asked him, he said, if I be a man of the Lord, then you bring down fire from heaven. So I just want to pull this real quick. This is Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 21. And verse 21. And if thou say in thine heart, how should we know that the word which the Lord has spoken how should we know the word which the Lord hath not spoken? When a prophet speaketh in the name of the Lord, if that thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Lord Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai hath not spoken. But the prophet has spoken it presumptuously, that thou should not be afraid of him. So essentially, to show you that, like, for you to really know if a man is a man of the Lord or not, the Lord will co-sign it by particular miracles and particular things that would show that, okay, this is a prophet of mine. This is a prophet indeed. This is my messenger. And that's what he did with Moses, and now he's doing it with Elijah. Because that's when you read in Genesis, when it goes into the account, not Genesis, Exodus, it goes into the account where Moses, when he spoke to the Lord, he told the Lord, "What should I do if they don't believe me?" He gave him 3 miracles. He gave him, well, I think he gave him a 3 or 2, but he told him, showed him the miracle where you put your hand in your pocket and you pull it out and it's lepers. And I think it was another miracle he showed him to do, but I do know he showed him that lepers one. And those were the miracles of cosign what Moses was saying. Hey, Yahweh sent me the power, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And if they didn't believe, he showed a miracle to prove the message that this is a messenger of me. And that's what he's doing with Joshua. He's like, this is a man that I've set up, and I'm gonna prove it by having him tell you these commands to have the Ark of the Covenant go before the nation of Israel, stand in the water, and essentially what's gonna happen is the Lord's gonna make a way for us. So they did it, and boom, the Lord did it. And it proved that Joshua was a prophet of the Lord. He was a servant of the Lord. The Lord set him up. So that's all I had.
Yeah. And Salakia, bro. I really should have made you read it in NLT. That's why I was kind of tripping for a second. I'm like, wait. But in the NLT,
We can read it in the NLT. I got it pulled up.
God, yeah, we read Joshua 3, I think starting at 15 in the NLT. Because it explains pretty much how the Lord did it, on how he stopped the river. Well, you know, a partial of it, so they'll get weight through it, and it explains it better in the NLT. So that's why I was forgetting. I knew I was forgetting something. So
I got you. This is Joshua chapter. God, this is Joshua chapter 3, verse 15 in the NLT. It was the harvest season, and the Jordan was overflowing its banks. But as soon as the feet of the priests were carrying the ark touched the water at the river edge, the water above that point began backing up a great distance away at a town called Adam, which is near the Zethon. And the water below that point followed on the Dead Sea,
flowed
until the riverbed was dry. Then all the people crossed over near the town of Jericho.
Exactly, and this gives you more of an understanding, pretty much on how the Lord did, like how he basically made a way for the nation of Israel to cross the sea, and it happened as soon as the priests put their feet in the water. And the KJV is kind of like, you know, it's more confusing, but NLT, look, it explained it pretty much perfectly, exactly how the Lord did it. Then you could go ahead and read verse 17.
And I just want to make a point, you know, because you said it wasn't like super big miracle, but that is still a big miracle, because like if you put yourself in a situation, because I looked up, you know, hopefully this is accurate, but I looked up the Jordan River. I looked up in ChatGPT like how wide was the Jordan River, and it said the Jordan River is pretty much 90 to 100 feet wide, so 27 to 30 feet meters wide. That's how wide it was. So you got to think about it, like it's pretty wide. You know what I'm saying? So they walked, put their foot in there, and the Lord pretty much had it back up until the dry ground showed, and it said it was 1 to 3 meters deep. In other words, 3 to 10 feet deep. So as we crossed through it, we got to the deepest point, which was 10 feet deep. That's pretty high. If you stand in the, you know, when we doing what is it called? When I be doing plumbing, we be digging ditches. If we dig a ditch that's 10 feet down, you can tell that thing deep. You're like, damn, it's 10 feet. That's the height of a basketball goal. So imagine the height of a basketball goal, a riverbed being that deep, and you just got the water pushed back on the sides. You see? So that's something major. That's major. Now, of course, it wasn't as big as the miracle he did in the Red Sea, you know, but it was still big, man. It was still like, because you got from a perspective of being there, it's like, dang, the water got pushed back, and we walking down. Any second, Lord can have it. The water just come in on that thing, right? You know that, and because that generation was righteous, that fears him, like, dang, that the Lord could just have it come down, because that was a righteous generation right there. So they was considering those particular things. But I read verse.
Hold on then. Well, yeah, Mike, that was a slip of the tongue. Then I said it completely wrong. What I meant to say was I was not trying to downplay the miracle. Nothing Slacky. What I meant to say was it just wasn't the exact same as Moses. That's what I meant to say. I don't know if I said it like I forgot exactly how I said it, but it didn't come out right the first time. What I meant was because it's still a big miracle. They both great miracles. Don't get me wrong, but what I meant to say was it didn't happen the exact same way it did with Moses. That's the only thing I meant to say. So yeah, that's a lucky on my end. Jake slip of the tongue, man.
Yeah, that flesh. You good?
Okay, you got it, bro.
Now this is John 3:17. It says, "Meanwhile, the priests who were carrying the ark of the Lord Yahweh Shai's covenant stood on the dry ground in the middle of the riverbed as the people passed by." This is the deepest part.
Nah, for real.
It says the people passed by. They waited there until the whole nation of Israel had crossed the Jordan River. It's like it had crossed the Jordan on dry ground.
Exactly. So once the Lord made way for them to cross the Jordan River, the priests were going to be the last ones to pretty much to cross the Jordan River, because they will have to sit there and hold the Ark of the Covenant, like it says in the deepest part, right? Until the rest of the whole nation of Israel passes, and once they pass over, then the Jordan River would pretty much go back to normal after that. But yeah, that's pretty much it on Joshua. The third chapter. Just pretty much in the whole explanation of how the Lord did a miracle once again, and magnified pretty much Joshua as he did as Moses, splitting the sea again. Right?
Yeah, precept.
Kai, you go ahead, bring it.
This is one point real quick. This is just summarizing kind of what happened. This is Exodus 23:20. Behold, I will send an angel, and it's an angel in caps. So it's talking about Yahweh before thee, to keep thee in the way and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. That was that Ark of the Covenant. It was a representation of that angel,
Exactly.
which is Yahweh.
Yeah.
And even with that saying it too, because when you read it, if I'm not mistaken, if it's even, I think it's in this chapter 2, the angel went before them and the angel was behind them too, because it was a point of time where nation Israel got to the Red Sea and the Egyptians were right behind them, and the angel went behind them to protect them so they could cross through the Red Sea. And then that's when Moses did the miracle and the split, and the angel went back in front of them to lead them out. So just kind of showing you how that ark was in the front of them and it went behind them. That's how that angel did during the time of Exodus, which was a chariot. The angel's on a chariot. But you got it.
Exactly. Oh, man, you saw that. So you had anything you wanted to say?
And all points been made.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Joshua the third chapter. The miracle of them crossing over the Jordan River, and he explained it exactly how the Lord did it to magnify Joshua in the sight of the nation of Israel, letting Israel know that Yahweh Bashion Shai was with Joshua, as the Lord has told Joshua within the first chapter. I'm gonna be with you all the days of your life. And the Lord, he magnified his name in this magnified Joshua in this chapter with this miracle, because it's basically what it went into, that miracle. But anyways, Lord willing, y'all was edified. We'll go ahead hop into that Joshua the 4th chapter next week. And I want to end it out by saying Kal Halal, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rekakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And until next time I say, Shalom.
Shalom.